Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bhakti Fundamentals. Today we turn to a vivid, sobering analogy used throughout our Bhakti scriptures, and one that Śrīla Prabhupāda often emphasized, which is that material existence, or life, is like an ocean of suffering. And in the specific analogy we'll look at today, it is compared to an ocean with waves of fire, an ocean on fire. More than just poetic metaphor, this image of the ocean of material existence is meant to wake us up to the reality of our condition in this material world, and to point us toward the only safe passage, devotional service to the Supreme, Bhakti Yoga. Have you ever seen video footage or photographs of the Pacific Ocean just after the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941? In the aftermath of the attack, oil from the bombed ships spilled across the harbor's surface and ignited. Flames danced across the water, defying what we instinctively believe to be the nature of fire and water. It's deeply unsettling to watch, an ocean set ablaze. The contradiction of fire burning in water is jarring. And yet this is exactly the image invoked by the great devotee Dhruva Maharaj in the Srimad Bhagavatam to describe our condition in this material world. In Canto 4, the great devotee Dhruva Maharaj prays to the Supreme, Krishna, as follows: O unlimited Lord, kindly bless me, so that I may associate with great devotees who engage in your transcendental, loving service constantly, as the waves of a river constantly flow. Such transcendental devotees are completely situated in an uncontaminated state of life. By the process of devotional service, I shall surely be able to cross the nescient ocean of material existence, which is filled with the waves of blazing, fire-like dangers. It will be very easy for me, for I am becoming mad to hear about your transcendental qualities and pastimes, which are eternally existent. Rivers, fire, oceans, these are all powerful natural forces on their own, but it is the blazing fire-like waves in the ocean of material existence that capture our attention in this verse. Ordinarily, water and fire cancel each other out, but here we are presented with an ocean on fire. In his purport or explanation to the verse, however, Śrīla Prabhupāda gives us hope. He writes, the ocean of material nescience or ignorance is compared to a blazing fire. But to a devotee, this blazing fire is insignificant because he is completely absorbed in devotional service. Thus, even though the material world is dangerous and unpredictable, there is relief available, but such relief does not arise from the material world itself. That relief comes through spiritual life, as we'll discuss in a moment. But first, why do the scriptures compare the material world to an ocean? And how does devotional service help us cross that ocean? In his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 8, verse 21, Śrīla Prabhupāda elaborates on this analogy. He writes, living the conditional life, or material life, is just like plying a boat in the middle of the ocean. One is completely at the mercy of the ocean, and at every moment there is every chance of being drowned in the ocean by slight agitation. If the atmosphere is all right, the boat can ply very easily, undoubtedly. But if there is some storm, fog, wind, or cloud, there is every possibility of being drowned in the ocean. No one can control the whims of the ocean, however one may be materially well equipped. One who has crossed the oceans by ship may have sufficient experience of such dependence upon the mercy of the ocean. But one can ply over the ocean of material existence by the grace of the Lord very easily, without any fear of storm or fog. It all depends on the will of the Lord. No one can help if there is some unfortunate danger in the state of conditional life. The devotees of the Lord, however, cross the ocean of material existence without anxiety, because a pure devotee is always protected by the Lord. The Lord gives special attention to his devotees in their activities within material conditional life. In this powerful excerpt, we come to understand just how fitting the analogy of the material world as an ocean truly is. The ocean is vast, deep, and constantly moving, sometimes peaceful on the surface, but capable of turning violent in an instant. In the same way, material life can feel calm one moment and then become overwhelming the next. Without the anchor or life preserver of spiritual life, Bhakti Yoga, we are utterly at the mercy of these waves. We may be crashed against the rocky shore of disappointment, caught in the whirlpools of repeated desires and frustrations, attacked by other living entities like sharks, and drowned in tsunamis of grief and loss. And just as Dhruva Maharaj described, there are also fiery waves, shocking, jarring waves of danger in this world that seem almost to defy logic, striking us from unexpected directions. Beyond these dangers, material life also guarantees 4 unavoidable miseries that the material body must endure in every material lifetime. And those are birth, old age, disease, and death. And we haven't experienced these 4 miseries just once, but countless times, again and again, lifetime after lifetime. Don't we want this miserable cycle to finally end? As Śrīla Prabhupāda notes, we cannot control the ocean, and more critically, we cannot escape the ocean of material existence by material means. This is precisely why the image of fire burning on water is so powerful. Ordinarily, we think of water as extinguishing fire. But in the ocean of material life, the fire keeps burning. Why? Because no material solution can extinguish the flames of samsara, the cycle of repeated birth and death that we are caught in. The material ocean cannot extinguish the material fires that keep cropping up. We are caught in this blazing sea, and despite our very best material efforts through wealth, science, entertainment, technological advancement, or even moral living, nothing material can halt the cycle. The fire of samsara, the cycle of birth and death for our material bodies, continues to burn. Only something beyond matter, something transcendental, can address the real root of our suffering. Specifically, we require a process for exiting the ocean of material life, someone who knows how to navigate its treacherous waters, and a guidebook or books to help chart the way. In other words, we need Bhakti Yoga, the process, spiritual teachers or gurus, and the Bhakti scriptures. We'll get to a verse that covers this beautifully in just a moment. To set us up for the verse, the Srimad Bhagavatam gives us a powerful image to help us understand our current opportunity. It says that this human form of life is like a boat, a rare and valuable vessel meant to carry us across the vast ocean of material existence. But if we fail to use it properly, this human form of life, then we drown. We are swept away once more in the current of karma, forced to take another birth in another material body, and the cycle of samsara thus continues. That's why the Bhakti scriptures urgently implore us to take spiritual life seriously, and not just for our own deliverance, but so that we can help others still struggling in the waves. When we find spiritual shelter through Bhakti Yoga, we are not just saved, we become instruments of Krishna's mercy, able to extend a hand to others and guide them toward the same rescue. Śrīla Prabhupāda drives this point home in his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 15, verse 24. He writes, "It is said that the human form is a great boon because it is the most suitable boat for crossing over the nescience ocean. The spiritual master is considered to be the most able captain in that boat, and the information from the scriptures is the favorable wind for floating over the ocean of nescience or ignorance. The human being who does not take advantage of all these facilities in this life is committing suicide. Therefore, one who does not begin Krishna consciousness in the human form of life loses his life to the influence of the illusory energy." In this one verse, we are given the full recipe for navigating the ocean of material existence, the boat of the human body, the captain in the form of the spiritual master, and the favorable winds of scriptural wisdom. With these three in place, and the process of Bhakti Yoga to move us forward, we can cross over the blazing ocean of suffering. In the world around us, we need only look at our friends, family members, and even ourselves to see how much suffering we all endure while navigating the ocean of material existence. And yet, tragically, the very thing that would offer true relief, spiritual life, is often unknown, misunderstood, or simply ignored. Often we are so caught up in the waves of our material pursuits that when a small break in the waves arises, a monetary raise, a vacation, a new car or home, we mistake that temporary calm for true happiness. And so we keep sailing forward without any real direction. But then the next storm arrives. Without real shelter, spiritual shelter, the cycle of temporary happiness and distress continues endlessly. The real solution is to take up Bhakti Yoga, which arms us with the transcendental knowledge, shelter, and spiritual tools needed to rise above the waves of the material ocean. And the beauty of Bhakti Yoga is that it doesn't just help us survive the ocean, it shrinks it. Bhakti Yoga acts like a touchstone that dramatically reduces the overwhelming expanse of material suffering, making it entirely crossable. In fact, the Srimad Bhagavatam describes this transformation in another one of its poetic analogies. In the 10th canto, we read, "O lotus-eyed Lord, by concentrating one's meditation on your lotus feet, which are the reservoir of all existence, and by accepting those lotus feet as the boat by which to cross the ocean of nescience, one follows in the footsteps of Mahajanas, great saints, sages, and devotees. By this simple process, one can cross the ocean of nescience as easily as one steps over the water in the hoofprint of a calf." In the purport or explanation to this verse, Śrīla Prabhupāda writes, "The true mission in life is to cross the ocean of nescience, of repeated birth and death. Those in the darkness of ignorance, however, do not know this mission. Instead, being carried away by the waves of material nature, they are undergoing the tribulations of mrityu samsara vartmani, repeated birth and death. But persons who have achieved knowledge by the association of devotees follow the Mahajanas. Such a person always concentrates his mind upon the lotus feet of the Lord and executes one or more of the 9 varieties of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. Simply by this process, one can cross the insurmountable ocean of nescience. Such is the power of devotional service, as we learn from the examples set by the Lord's many pure devotees. We have to follow in the footsteps of such devotees, for by this one easy process, one can cross the great ocean of nescience or ignorance, just as one might cross a small hole created by the hoof of a calf. Śrīla Prabhupāda herein explains that we should be deeply concerned with escaping the cycle of birth and death by crossing the ocean of nescience, the ocean of material existence, which is rooted in nescience or ignorance of our true spiritual identity. Most people remain unaware of this goal, helplessly carried away by the waves of material nature. But by associating with devotees and sincerely taking up even one practice of devotional service, such as chanting the Maha Mantra, we can then begin to follow in the footsteps of the great saints, the Mahajanas, and easily cross what once seemed impossible. So there is great hope, but only in spiritual life. Spiritual life is the positive alternative to material life. Though the ocean of material existence may seem vast, fiery, and impossible to cross, spiritual knowledge and devotional service give us the means to safely reach the other shore, a spiritual shore not found on any earthly map, but described in the Shastra as a realm of eternal life, complete knowledge, and unending bliss. That is our true home, the spiritual world, where we happily engage in a reciprocal, loving relationship with Krishna, the Supreme. And Krishna himself personally promises this spiritual future for his devotees in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verses 6-7. He says, "But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death." We are never alone in spiritual life. Spiritual success is the result of our sincere effort combined with Krishna's causeless mercy. The moment we take even a small step toward Krishna, he responds, far beyond what we could imagine. And in the end, he personally delivers us from the ocean of material existence and brings us to our real home, the spiritual world, a place with no blazing oceans, no disease, no death, no old age, and no anxiety, only perfect spiritual bliss eternally. So that's all we have for today on this powerful analogy of the material world as an ocean on fire. We hope today's session gave you a deeper sense of both the urgency of our condition in this material world and the hope of deliverance found in Bhakti Yoga. Please feel free to share with us your thoughts, reflections, and any questions you'd like us to address in upcoming sessions. In the meantime, thank you for listening today, and we'll see you next time on Bhakti fundamentals.